Okay, so like imagine this, you find this amazing magical sword, right?
Yeah.
It gives you like incredible power, but there's a catch.
Oh.
It's cursed.
Okay.
And using it like slowly twists your personality, pushes you towards a certain alignment. Would you actually use that power knowing it could change who you are?
Whoa, that's a pretty intense thought. It's not just about like the dangers, but the way it messes with your values and what you do. It reminds me of I had this session recently where something like that happened.
Really? Tell me more.
So my party's rogue, right? He finds these gloves. They gave him crazy dexterity. Like he was like the ultimate lockpick and thief. But like every time he pulled off a heist, he got more and more selfish.
Oh no.
Like he stopped caring about what the party needed. It turned out the gloves were like subtly pushing him towards neutral evil.
That's a wild story. It really sounds like your DM was using those cursed items to make the campaign deeper. Which is kind of what we're looking at today, like how cursed items in D&D can be made for different alignments. Creating these crazy moral choices.
Totally. It's not just about bad luck or funny side effects. This article from LitRPG Reads by Paul Bellow really digs into how cursed items can be like powerful tools for storytelling.
Yeah, they make the point that these items, they often give you good stuff and bad stuff. Like classic risk versus reward, right? That's what makes games fun. Yeah. But it's more than just the mechanics.
For sure. It makes the players think hard about what kind of hero or anti-hero they want to be. Like, would your super lawful good paladin ever break their code for a little boost? How much is too much to give up? These are the questions that make D&D more than just rolling dice.
And they had this whole section on identifying and handling curses. I thought it was cool that you don't always know right away that an item is cursed. Like they have the amulet of forgetting, makes you slowly lose your memory.
Oh, wow.
Not a big flashy thing. So it might take a while for players to even realize what's happening.
That's where the DM has to get creative.
Yeah.
Like, what if figuring out a curse was a whole side quest, Maybe they got to find an ancient book or talk to some hermit who knows about cursed stuff. Adds a whole new layer to the game.
I love that. And then they get to the really good stuff.
Yeah.
Alignment-specific cursed items. Like for lawful good, the examples they give are perfect for showing how that alignment's strengths and weaknesses can be used against them.
Yeah, like the Sword of Overzealous Mercy sounds good, right?
Yeah.
It stops the person using it from killing.
Right.
But for a paladin who has to protect people, that's a huge problem.
Totally.
Yeah.
What do you do when you got to stop a monster but you can't kill it? It really makes you question your core beliefs as a lawful good character.
Then there's the Helmet of Absolute Truth. You have to tell the truth all the time, no matter what.
Oh, man. Imagine a diplomat trying to work out a treaty with that thing on.
Oh, it'd be a disaster.
Yeah.
But also hilarious.
For sure.
Right.
It takes that lawful good honesty and pushes it way too far. It can cause more harm than good. And that's what I like about it. It makes you think outside the box. Now, for neutral, good things get even trickier. They're all about helping others. But what happens when that goes too far? Like to the point where it's actually bad?
Right. The Amulet of Unending Charity is a good example. It makes you give away half your stuff to anyone who asks. No questions asked.
So your generosity becomes a problem for the whole party.
Exactly. You could be broke and defenseless in no time. And then there's the Staff of Reluctant Aid heals whoever touches it, even your enemies.
So in the middle of a battle, you've got this huge moral choice. Do you have to heal the people trying to kill you?
It makes you think about healing in D&D in a whole new way. It could lead to some really interesting role-playing moments.
All right, let's talk about chaotic good. They love the unexpected, right? The article mentions the boots of reckless speed. They make you run towards danger.
Perfect for those players who just charge into trouble, plays right into that chaotic good impulsiveness, but it could also be a disaster waiting to happen.
Imagine sprinting straight into a trap or an ambush.
Yeah.
It would be funny and scary to watch.
And then you have the Cloak of Random Heroism. Does heroic things for you, but completely at random. 1 minute you're tripping over yourself, the next you're slaying a dragon without even trying.
That's chaotic. But it could lead to some legendary moments. It's a kind of item that could make a regular session into a story you tell forever.
All right, now we're getting into lawful neutral land, the upholders of order and rules.
Yeah, the article talks about the Staff of Over-Enforcement. It makes you enforce every single rule, no matter how small or dumb.
Oh man, that would be a nightmare for a party trying to chill at the tavern. Suddenly every little thing is a big deal. It'd be funny to roleplay. But it also shows how ridiculous it is to follow rules blindly.
And what about the gloves of procedural paralysis? You can't do anything unless you follow a strict set of steps for everything.
Oh, that's just mean. Imagine trying to disarm a trap with those on Papus. Every little move has to be perfect, according to some ancient manual. Talk about a test of patience.
All right, let's move on to true neutral. They're all about balance, avoiding extremes. The article mentions the ring of infinite apathy makes you super indecisive, especially when it matters most.
That's a good one. It gets to the heart of being true neutral. It's not just about being passive. It's about looking at all sides, finding the middle ground. But what happens when you have to make a decision?
Their biggest strength becomes their weakness. And then there's the cloak of uninspired action. It kills your motivation and makes even the most exciting things boring.
Like a curse of being bored with existence. It'd be hard to roleplay, but it could also be funny watching your character just shrug at everything happening around them.
Okay, are you ready for some real chaos?
Hit me with it.
We're going into chaotic neutral territory.
Let's do it.
Probably the most famous item for this alignment. The Sword of Constant Change. Turns into a different random object every time you use it in battle.
So 1 minute it's a sword, the next it's a rubber chicken. Perfect example of unpredictable chaos.
Battles would be so much more fun and crazy with that. And then there's the Cape of Impulsive Decisions. Makes you make rash choices, usually with bad results.
Oh, that's a recipe for disaster. It would be so fun to watch a player try to fight the urge to just do the most ridiculous thing possible in every situation. It would really test their role-playing skills.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of alignments.
We have.
Ready to get into the evil side of things.
Absolutely. Let's hear about those deliciously evil, cursed items.
Yeah.
All right, so lawful evil. This is where you get all that ambition and the need for power. You know, these characters, they think the ends justify the means. And the cursed items for this alignment, they reflect that.
Yeah, the Crown of Compulsory Betrayal really caught my eye. It makes you betray one of your allies every so often, no matter how much you need them.
It's like a twisted take on how lawful evil characters work. They get power through their allies, but this crown makes them always suspicious and paranoid. Makes you wonder, can they ever really trust anyone when they know they're going to have to betray someone eventually?
It's like a time bomb in the party.
Oh.
You never know who's going to get betrayed next. Adds this whole layer of suspense to every interaction.
Then there's the gloves of forced allegiance. They make people loyal to you, but you have to constantly serve someone even more powerful, like a magic contract with some evil mastermind.
It shows how lawful evil characters are all about hierarchies. They might climb to the top, but there's always someone above them pulling the strings.
Yeah.
Makes you question their ambition. Is it really about them, or are they just someone else's pawn?
Okay, moving on to neutral evil. This is where greed and self-preservation rule. Everything's about what they can get for themselves. The article has the perfect example for this. The Amulet of Endless Hunger.
It makes you steal all the time, even if you don't need the stuff. It's like magic kleptomania. They just can't stop wanting more.
It's not just about getting rich, though. It's the thrill of taking what's not yours. That feeling of getting what you want no matter what.
Makes the game unpredictable, too. Will they steal from shops in broad daylight? Or from their own party? It creates this constant tension. Like, you can't trust anyone.
Then there's the pouch of insatiable greed. It wants you to give it more and more expensive stuff. It slowly drains all your wealth and resources.
It's like a bottomless pit you can never fill. The perfect metaphor for greed. It also makes you wonder how far a neutral evil character will go to keep the pouch happy. Will they sacrifice their friends, their morals, even themselves?
It's a dangerous path. Could lead to their downfall, or it could make them realize how empty it is to just chase money and stuff. It all depends on how the player decides to play it.
All right, and now for the crazy chaotic energy of chaotic evil. The article talks about the dagger of self-sabotage. It hurts you just as much as it hurts your enemy.
That weapon is all about self-destruction. Like a lot of chaotic evil characters, it's not just about hurting other people. They like the chaos and pain, even if it means hurting themselves.
It's like they're saying, if I'm going down, you're coming with me. Kind of scary, but it makes sense for a chaotic evil character. Would make fights really intense. Players would have to think hard about using a weapon like that.
And we can't forget the cloak of endless fury. It just explodes with destructive energy all the time, hurting everyone around it. It's like a walking disaster, a symbol of all that rage that a chaotic evil character can have.
It's a great example of how a cursed item can affect more than just the person using it. It changes the environment and the people around them. You never know when it's going to go off. Makes things feel dangerous and unpredictable.
It also makes the players think about what their actions will cause. Can a chaotic evil character really control something so powerful? Or will it end up controlling them?
Okay, so we've talked about how these cursed items can be made for each alignment, how they create challenges and opportunities that go beyond just the mechanics. They really dig into what makes each character tick, makes the game feel more real and interesting.
Yeah, and the article doesn't stop there. It gives advice on how to add these items to a campaign in a way that feels natural, not just randomly throwing curses at the players.
I like the idea of revealing the curse slowly. It's not obvious right away, like they suggest little hints, drawbacks that only happen sometimes, mysterious stories, weird reactions from the environment, even making the character feel uncomfortable.
It's like peeling back at the layers of a mystery, slowly figuring out what the curse is and what it's doing to the character. Creates this sense of suspense, makes the players want to investigate and ask questions and pay attention to details.
And when they finally figure out the curse, it's so much more powerful. Imagine playing for weeks and then realizing that little trinket you've been carrying has been draining your life or messing with your mind. That's a moment you'll never forget.
It gives the players more control, too. They're not just victims. They can investigate and try to solve the problem, maybe even break the curse.
And speaking of breaking curses, the article says it shouldn't be easy. It should be a quest, a whole adventure that adds to the story.
Right, getting rid of a curse should be just as interesting as getting the cursed item. It could mean traveling to dangerous places, reading old books, making deals with powerful creatures, or even making hard choices.
It's a chance for players to really learn about the world, meet cool characters, and use their brains to figure things out.
And when they finally break the curse, that feeling of accomplishment is amazing. It shows how much they've grown, how clever they are, and how well they work together.
The article mentions a bunch of ways to break a curse, like special rituals, quests for magical items, or even making deals with devils.
I like the idea of arcane trials that test the character. They have to solve puzzles or fight guardians or get through dangerous traps. It's a way to challenge them mentally and physically, makes them rely on their skills and their team to win.
It's also a good way to add crafting and alchemy to the game. Like maybe they have to find rare ingredients and make a special potion to get rid of the curse.
Right. It's not just about magic or luck. They're using their skills to solve the problem.
And sometimes the answer isn't about fighting or magic. Maybe they have to negotiate with someone, make a deal with a spirit or a devil. It reminds us that brains and words can be just as powerful as swords.
Yeah, and all these different methods, they show how cool D&D is as a game. It's not just about fighting in dungeons, it's about role-playing and storytelling and trying new things.
Exactly. And that's what makes cursed items so awesome. They're not just things to get rid of. They're chances to grow and explore and create really memorable stories.
They make players think about their choices and what they believe in. And they make the campaign unpredictable and exciting. You never know what's going to happen next.
It's like adding a little spice to the story. A bit of chaos and intrigue that makes everything better. So we've covered a lot, like how to add cursed items to your game, how to make the curse a mystery, and how getting rid of it can be a whole quest. But the thing that really stuck with me from this article is how they talk about making curses for specific alignments. It's not just about making the item annoying or dangerous. It's about creating a challenge that really messes with who the character is at their core.
Yeah, when you think about it like that, there are so many possibilities. Like imagine you have this lawful good paladin, right? They find this awesome shield, gives them amazing protection, but it starts to twist how they see justice. Like they start judging everyone really harshly, punishing people for tiny mistakes, like they're going overboard with the whole good thing.
It's not just about making the paladin stronger. The shield is changing how they see what it means to be good. That's such a cool conflict for a player to deal with.
Exactly. Or what about a chaotic neutral rogue, right? They find this dagger, gives them crazy luck, but they can't stop lying.
Oh, wow.
Their whole thing is deceiving and manipulating people, but now it's out of control.
So it messes up all their plans? Do they try to use the lies? Or does it just make it impossible to trust anyone, even their own party?
It's those kinds of choices that make cursed items so interesting. They're not just game mechanics. They make you think about right and wrong and the struggles that make characters feel real.
And don't forget, the article has this great table with examples of cursed items for each alignment. It's a great place to start if you're a player or a DM and you want to try this out.
Totally. It's full of ideas. But even beyond that, the article wants us to be creative, to come up with our own curses that fit the story we're telling.
So before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to give a shout out to LitRPG Reads and Paul Bello for this awesome article about cursed items. It's given us a lot to think about, like how we can use these items to make our games more fun and memorable.
For sure. It reminds us that even the simplest things can be turned into adventures and challenges and ways to make characters grow.
And on that note, dear listeners, we leave you with one final question. If you could make a cursed item, what would it be and who would it target?
Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear your ideas. Maybe your cursed item will inspire a future deep dive.
Until next time, may your dice rolls be amazing and may your adventures be full of just the right amount of cursed chaos.